Where do I begin? I just came back from 2 trips to Asia, and I'm heading back out in 2 days. It's Thursday today, so I'm heading back out on Saturday, back out to Korea. So I can't even think about where I'm trying to think about where the heck I've been. I know that I had to. We just won a full acquittal trial and not guilty verdict in a housing fraud case, which is essentially when a service member was collecting basic allowance for housing for their spouse, and they were collecting it in a location where Defense Finance Accounting Services says they're not entitled to it. So it's basically some type of a larceny for that. It's a pretty common crime that we see in the court-martial business. So we had to do a deposition. We had a witness who was the spouse of our client who really complex case, but she was out in North Carolina, and the trial itself was in Okinawa, Japan. Now, the interesting thing about the military is we do the trial wherever the service member is located. That's typically the way that goes. So this service member is located in Okinawa, the trial's in Okinawa, but the witness we needed, there's a critical witness. The witness basically won the case for us. She was in North Carolina. She's a civilian. She didn't have a passport. She wasn't going to travel to Japan. She refused to travel to Japan, and we needed this testimony. So the question becomes, how do we get the testimony of a witness who's located on the mainland or in the U.S. who's not a member of the military when the trial's actually in Japan? You don't really think about it, but it happens quite a bit. So what we have to do is we have to request what's called a deposition. And we made a request of the deposition. Now, in the military, that request has to go to what's called the convening authority, or the general officer that's convening the court-martial. Now, we laid out that this was a required witness for the trial. The government counsel, the prosecution, to their credit, they basically agreed with it. So we filed a motion to the convening authority requesting a deposition in North Carolina. It's a critical witness. It was important for the trial. And the convening authority, or the general officer, is convening the court-martial. I'll give you a guess, Noel. What do you think the convening authority said when I said we needed the deposition to have a fair trial in North Carolina? The prosecutor says, I agree, we also need this. The convening authority, what do you think they said?
Absolutely, we should give this service member a fair trial. No way, that's not what he said.
No, they said no. They said no. So I've got me and the prosecutor both agreeing that this witness is important for, not just, it's the most important witness in the trial. The government, the convening authority said, nope, we're not going to give you a deposition. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So then we had to go back to the judge, file more motions, waste more paper, waste more time, do work for work's sake, and go back to court and file a motion to compel a deposition from the military judge. And people wonder why these trials can get expensive. Just to get a deposition, we had to fly to Bill Ettinger, our defense investigator. We flew to North Carolina to interview the witness, to get an affidavit from her to support the request for the deposition. Then we filed the request for a deposition. That was denied. Then I got to go to Okinawa to get in front of a judge to compel the deposition. The judge then, in about 3 minutes, says, government, what the hell are you doing? Granted. So then I got to fly back from Okinawa. Then we scheduled the deposition at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Now I've got to fly back to North Carolina. So to get one witness's testimony, it's 2 trips to North Carolina, 1 trip to Okinawa. Just think about what that can do to cost, right? And how much time that takes. But that's what we do. That's what's required to win a trial. So we flew out to North Carolina, and the way we take a deposition is we then subpoena that witness to come to whatever area that's closest. In this case, it was Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Then they get a subpoena. They have to show up because they've been subpoenaed. We use the courtroom in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. We take a video recorded testimony. It's audio recorded. We get a transcript. And you do that deposition just like a trial. So we have direct examination, cross-examination. And that's tricky because we're a month before the jury trial, but you have to play into your head, how is this going to play out a month from now? What's going to change a month from now? So you have to do the strategy, the direct and cross-examination. For us, it was a direct examination, thinking a month ahead, and for all the things that could change. Okay, so we take the deposition, I fly back from North Carolina, but that's not the end of it yet. That deposition doesn't automatically come into evidence. We had to file another motion with the judge requesting the deposition be admitted. We litigated another motion. This was in Okinawa, Japan. Fortunately, this was right before the trial. So finally, the deposition was admitted. I was out in Okinawa, Japan last week. The deposition was admitted. It was played in open court, and it was a not guilty verdict. The members came back like an hour and a half on a fraud case. That took 13 months to get the trial. So it was a fantastic result for the client. But in order to do that, one particular case, you wonder why there's so much travel. Noel always talks how much I'm gone, how much I travel. I had to do 3 trips to Okinawa, 2 trips to North Carolina with me and my investigators. Think about the cost of that. Think about the amount of time. We probably, I mean, it's 50, to get to Okinawa from here, it's about 18 hours door to door. I go to the office, I'll leave the office in the morning, go to the airport. It's 8 hours to Narita. There's about a 4-hour layover in Narita in Japan. Then it's about 3.5, 4 hours down to Naha. Then you get down there, then you gotta take another hour, 45 minute to an hour taxi ride to the hotel because it's not really close to where the airport is. That's about a 16-hour evolution depending on how long the layover is. And so we've been in situations, I just had one, where we'll fly to Okinawa, it's 15, 16 hours door to door. That'll be, you leave Monday night, you leave Monday morning, you get there Tuesday night, about 11 o'clock at night, you're pretty tired because that's a long haul from here. You have to get up early Wednesday morning, so you lose the day getting there. You spend all day prepping with the client, that's a 12-hour day. Thursday you go to court, whether court's 1 hour or 4 hours or 6 hours. Then you finish up with the client, you do a debrief, then you fly out the next morning, Friday. So to do one court case, I mean, people don't understand that, aren't in this business. A lot of people in our industry, Al, you've seen it, or Noel, you walk out of your office, you walk 1 block, you go to a hearing, and you walk back home. For us to do one hearing in Okinawa is a 1-week evolution. And nothing else really happens that week. I don't sign up new clients. I don't work on that many other cases. I'm the managing partner of the firm, so I've got a lot of management. None of that happens because I'm fully dedicated to that client. So one hearing, not a trial, but one hearing is a week.